Courage, vision, resilience. It's more than just a journey. It's a universe of endless possibility, where a single idea can change a man's life, creating new worlds from the ground up. I am Ricky. I'm your guide through the epic stories of Web3 pioneers. Join me and enjoy the podcast. The Tales of Web3.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Tales of Web3, episode 4, season 1, where we invite the most epic builders building in Web3 space, sharing their journey, the stories, the things that they did in the past that made them who they are today. Today, we are welcoming Winny, the founder of Chip and Gossip Protocol. Welcome, Winny.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today, Ricky. Super excited for this conversation.
Awesome. As I said, I actually was watching a lot of the interviews, the podcasts that you did in the past, right? And you got quite a journey, a very unique background, the mix of art and Web3, right? I would say very few people in Web3 actually focusing on that. To start, right, share more about the background, Chipped Gossip Protocol. We'd love to dive deep further in the conversation about what's your true motivation, right? What kind of future of Web3 that you wanted to create?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting way to start looking at it. I had this thought. I've had most of my changes or different things that have happened in my career in crypto have always started from me asking myself the question of why, remember what your why is. Because I remember even back in 2021, I was like, I have to stick to my why. I have to stick to my why, and then I fell away from it and I really lost it. And then I had the same thing last year, and now I feel like I'm back fully on my why. But yeah, I've been in this space for for quite a while now. I got into crypto in 2017, and not as a builder way, just as how anyone just starts dabbling in the space. There was a bit of a janky journey. I was in New York and I was an unpaid intern, and my friends were into crypto, Bitcoin mining, and I was like, cool, I have no money, so let me see how crypto works and all of that kind of stuff. And I was really falling out of love with the fashion industry at the time. And the more I learned about crypto and blockchain, the more I was like, oh, this is actually something that I'm more interested in than fashion. Because fashion was a really horrible, cliquey, nepotistic industry to be in. And it was I just didn't enjoy it at all. So when I went back to there was actually another bit which I always tend to leave out of stories, but I think I'll add it in for this call. Well, after I finished this internship, I actually went back to the island that I grew up on, which is a tax haven off of France, and I worked in finance for a really short stint, and it was offshore tax evasion kind of finance, and that just really showed me retrospectively I see how much that affected my career and why I went into crypto now. But at the time it wasn't really a driving force, which is why I've left it out, but it's been really shaping. But I just showed how it just showed me how corrupt the financial system was, and I think that's something that kind of sat in the back of my mind for a long time. And then so I went back to uni and I was like, fuck, I still have no idea what I want to do as I was finishing my final year of I was design at the time. And it was just I was just I have no idea. So I wrote this paper in 2019 on the relationship of fashion and blockchain for sustainability and transparency. And I went to this talk it was by some it was a fashion journalist and the Fabricant team. And I just remember watching this panel being oh fuck, digital fashion, that's a really cool thing that that's what I think is going to be the future. And I wrote my thesis on this, and my professor was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever read. And I was like,
Oh,
yes.
come on, come on.
And I was just like, it may be, but I really believe in it, so I'm gonna keep going. And out of pettiness, I went on to study computer science and to be like, cool, I'm going to build these things myself. If you don't think that I can, it's like, there's not enough like sources that you're citing in your essay. I'm like, yeah, because no one's done anything yet. It's so fun and new. It's just like, let's not knock it before it starts. So I went and studied CS. I'm a really bad coder. Never really got into coding, but it was more like I can do this, and just so I can understand how it all worked. And then I went. I just kind of moseyed about then. Then it was like COVID, so things didn't really. Things were just. I don't really have any memory of anything that really happened around that time. But then I moved to France, and this was like when all the crypto stuff was really taking off, and I was chronically on the internet and on Twitter, and with a bunch of guys that I'd never seen their faces of or knew their real names, we co-founded Schiller, which is still going. They're doing amazing, like a growth agency, and I just had so much fun building with them. It was like a really fun part of my life. But we all wanted to kind of like I wanted to do different things to what they wanted to do, and like the path that they're on now like really suits them. I don't think it would have been well suited with the path that they're on now for me to have still stayed, and it makes so much sense. But I then moved on to just do like loads of other random different things. Like I created an NFT gallery in Prague for a bit. I worked on this company called Figuregot with my friends. That was just the most fun and beautiful project I've ever worked on in my life. And yeah, I just kind of bounced around thinking like it's always been a case of like I don't not that I don't want to do this, but this is getting close to what I think I really want to do with my life. And then I kind of just started doing Chipped not as a joke. It kind of started as like a fun thing that I was just doing for conferences because I love people. I love being around everybody. So whenever I'd go to conferences, I'd do you know what this is? I actually took my nails off yesterday because I'm redoing them for Fest tomorrow. But I
Ooh.
have a rogue one floating around somewhere. I don't know where it is. But yeah, I started by just like putting an NFC chip in my nails and doing my extensions myself. And I was like, cool, I can make this go to like
Whoa.
yeah. It was like my fun little skill to teach myself because I was like, I need to learn like a creative skill. And I chose my nails and it would go to either like my Twitter and then I was like, oh, I need to do it to like my lens or my Farcaster or to like a credential or something. And all of my friends like, wait, that's really cool. I want that as well. And I was like, well, I can't really scale doing it for you guys. Oh wait, what if I thought of a way to scale this? So what started off as just like a
Ooh.
thing I did for conferences ended up turning into the fun little thing that I get to do every day. And it's a really fun journey to go to tie in like the fashion, the creativity, the outside, all into one thing. Yeah.
I think it's definitely started with a fun experiment, right? It's
Mhm.
only possible if you are an artist and also a coder. That is so you, the experiment.
Yeah. It's like for me, it's like it's so crazy. It might just work. Like everyone's like, "What's the point in that?" I'm like, "What's the point in anything? I love it. People have fun. It's." Oh, I had a really like, like as a founder, sometimes you can have like really bad days and like really euphoric, like small moments that you cling on to for the like days. And I had a moment today that was just like pure euphoric for me. I was having a call with someone that I really admire in this space, Sophia Garcia. She's an engineer and an artist, and and she loves nails.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah, and she like is obsessed with nails, and she ordered some nails from us like last week, and I had a call with her today, and they arrived while we were on the call, and I just got to see that
I
excitement.
saw your tweet. I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. That's super exciting.
it was amazing, and like to see her physical reaction to the product, I was like, oh my god, this is like the prime person who is the blueprint of who like is our target market, and just to see how excited she was about it was just it was one of those moments being like, okay, I'm not stupid. What I'm doing is actually bringing some sort of joy and value to people's lives.
That's super fun. That's super. So, where do you envision Shipped to be in the next year, next 3 years, 5 years? What is the longest vision you can see, right, for the product that you are building every single day, putting everything in, right? The cool chips, where are they going?
So I'm fascinated with the wearable tech market right now. I mean, as of today, Avi released Friend, the AI wearable device, and it's been fascinating to see the reaction of that. And I guess for me, like I just see Chipped as being just a leader in what it means for wearable technology. I feel like we're going too aggressively into it, and like I have a lot of respect for what he's put out with Friend, but people just aren't ready for it. We're not meeting consumers where they actively are, and we're trying to force a change in their habits instead of like catering for them as they currently stand. And I really think that Chipped is going to be, if it's not just nails, I want to do so many other products, and also we can touch on like gossip protocol as well, what I want to build out with like social aggregation on that level of things. I see Chipped as being just like the way that people are getting comfortable with wearable tech. That's the goal with it initially.
That's nice. That's nice. And then like, yeah, please give a quick brief about like the relationship between chipped and gossip for people out there who, might be a little bit confused, right? Because they see the shining fancy chip everywhere. They also heard about gossip, but probably don't really know what that is. And please share more about that now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't really talk about gossip too much publicly because that's in like a lot more of an in-depth building phase. Is in very much in its infancy, and it does its job now for Chipped. So, Gossip Protocol is a social aggregation protocol to aggregate all of your Web 2 and Web 3 identities all in one place. The way that I see it is it's the separation of church and state when we have Chipped as the product layer, and then we've got Gossip, which is like the social layer, which is like the Web3. I don't even like saying Web3 blockchain layer. It's the software that everything built on top of. So the way that we are building Chip, it's a full stack brand, so that everything is as inherently in house as it possibly can be. But I am a full believer in like open source and building and allowing people to just build on something, while to separate it that way that allows us to build and maintain integrity with Chipped as a brand, but then also create a software that other chains, other protocols can plug into and build on top of, and just create a holistic way to just view all your identities all in one place.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Speaking of consumer applications, right? Like the founders, the people building the spaces are like unicorns now. Everybody start to really look into it. They start to find value inside. As a consumer application product founder, right? Share the biggest lessons you have learned ever since started building Chip.
Um, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is always be careful who you trust in this space. There's a lot of black, like sheep's, what's it, wolf in sheep's clothing. I love, like, I've always been a big builder on trust. And I think this is really important, especially when building stuff to do with social and identity. It's really funny because back when we founded Schiller, we were all anonymous. There were 6 of us who were like anonymous or pseudo anonymous. None of us knew each other's names. We fully founded a company that we
Wait, seriously? That's crazy.
yeah.
Oh my God.
We never saw each other's faces for the first 4 months we worked together, or like something ridiculous. We just were like, cool. We're all betting our reputation on this company and building it together, and like we had like a gnosis, and everything was like just to hope no one fucks each other over. And the first the first presentation I ever did was like in 2021 at NFT London, and it was the title of the talk that I gave was Building Trust in a Trustless System. And I feel like that is so incredibly important for identity. And I've always been like an overly trusting person, and I think that's probably been my biggest downfall within the space in my journey so far, is that I've trusted the wrong people. And I think that's the biggest bit of thing that I've seen as a builder. And like the irony of building an identity systems builder is not trusting people's true identities, I guess.
I honestly think, there's good and bad about that, right? Because for me personally, I think I sometimes overly trust people as well, right? But then I think in the long term, actually, this like trusting people is still like beneficial for people like us. Because, it trust people, like you give the trust, they give the trust back. If they didn't give the trust back, they manipulated, they heard it. Like you realize that person is not the partners that you wanted to seek, right? The collaborators. So I think, stay open for trusting others while being more careful about it, right?
Yeah.
I think that is a great lesson
Yes, we need more
for all of us.
systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I feel like your journey is really fun and inspiring for a lot of the people, right? Can you share one story in your entire Web3 journey, right? Probably starting from 2017 to 2024, all those years, right? Share me one story that you never shared anywhere before. It can be a bittersweet moment. It can be like the biggest life-changing moment. It can be the story of you going to investors, asking for fund, or anything like that, right? I want to, hear one story that people hear that they know, okay, this is Winnie, right? This is the type of thing that she did that made her who she are today. This is fun.
Okay, I hadn't actually thought of this. There was one really fun moment for me back in 2021 when I was on it was on the UK national television when like NFTs were huge, and we were doing consulting for this. Who was actually one of my favorite TV film producers, Niels Jewell. Like he was the producer of The Irishman. I think he just did the new Ferrari film, and we were advisors to him. And I was like, and I was living in LA, so they're like, "Oh, why don't you just come to the office?" I don't think because they wanted to film, they wanted to fund a film with NFTs, and it was just so inspiring to see, like, wow, this person who's really well established in his professional career is looking to a bunch of like 20-year-olds on the internet for advice on what to do, and I was like, this is sick.
That's cool.
So I remember being in their office in downtown LA, and it's like, oh yeah, the BBC is coming in today. And BBC have this like the tech segment called like BBC Click that goes out to like literally millions of people around like every day. And I was just there meant to be like there advising on them. And Niels was just like, oh no, wait, Winnie, you should be on. You should be on. And I was like, I have no idea how to
Whoa.
speak in front of TV or do anything like that. And I was like, God, I just rambled. And like, I got like a 30-second bit on national television. And it says like Winnie.eth NFT consultant. And I'm like, I'm never
That's
living
so
that.
cool. That's so cool.
And like, I think that was a really fun thing for me. Yeah. Just being like, oh, cool. I can
That's
actually do
beautiful.
random stuff with this random knowledge that I have from being on the internet. And oh, actually, I have.
What is the biggest takeaway for you? What are the things that you thought, really you get out of from that single event?
It's like I'm a big person on like exposure therapy. I used to be like a really anxious person, so it's like it's not going to kill you. Just go and do it. If it goes wrong, it doesn't matter. We live in an attention era. If something goes bad, people will forget about it in like 2 days. So it's just like just say yes and do the crazy thing. But then another.
Beautiful. And then sorry, I was interrupting you. I wanted you to
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, another one. There's a moment that I had. I think 2021 was just a really fun time for a lot of what we did, and it was really defining for the kind of future that I wanted to set myself up for. But there was this moment that really made me think about like who we're building for. It was when I was curating a gallery in 2021, and it was with my friend Sam. We met at ETHCC back in 2021, and he just became one of my really close friends. We had this gallery that was underground in the center of Prague, and there were TV screens, and I just got to put all of my friends' art and curate this gallery in this like really,
Whoa.
oh, it was amazing. It was beautiful. And we got to have, like do a different curation every like 6 weeks, and it was just a really fun point in my life. But after like the opening day and we went down to like check everything, make sure it was all like good to go on the Sunday, these kids like ran down the stairs. They must have been like 10 years old or whatever. And the first thing they did was like pulled out a phone and like scanned the QR code on the screen. And like their parents like, oh, like what are they doing? Like how do they know what to do this? And I'm like, we are building for these kids who are so innately tech native. And it's like they're not gonna have to like question how to scan an NFC chip or scan a QR code or interact with the digital because they've just grown up with it. And I'm like, we've got to stop worrying, like seeing that as a worry, and just start building for them instead of building for like old people who are going to yell at you because your QR code doesn't work. That was like my takeaway.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Like the young generation, you know, like the internet, the QR code, the fancy stuff is in their genes,
Yeah,
right? We build it for them. Automatic adoption.
exactly.
Super
Yeah.
cool stuff.
I had a little cry. I was like, oh, this makes it worth it.
I love it. I love stories like that. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. And next, I wanted to ask for some life hacks that you have for young founders out there. Because, you know, it's very easily to get burned out, right? Especially in crypto, right? What are some life hacks that you have, right? To make yourself happy, always optimistic, always have that positive energy for anyone.
Number 1, Diet Coke. Number 2, I'm like a Diet Coke fiend. I think the one thing that is my little hacks are just finding harmony. I guess like I don't know how for me, I love a run, or I love like a Barry's class. Like if you just get that like intense heads, like it's just getting that headspace, which I think is so important. Like one thing that I've really had to teach myself is like get away from the screen, because there have been times where if I've been like, if I'm not on my computer, if I'm not doing this, I'm not working. But then I'm like, no, you should go for a run or go to a class, because that just getting away, I do so much work without realizing that I'm working, because my head is actually processing things without like just the heavy hitting form of everything.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And then another one is, it's maybe a really weird one, but like, and it's to do with like relationships. If you're a founder, you should date a founder. Like, I don't know if like this has just been for me, but it's like, yeah, just dating a founder who gets it has just been like the biggest life hack for me, just to be able to be, just so that I know I'm not crazy, or like to just have someone who just gets what I'm going through, or to like advise or whatever. It's been the best part of the journey, I think.
I honestly think the third life hack is the most fun one, you know? Dating a founder. I mean, that makes sense, right? Like the person is going exactly the same thing you're going through, right? Just putting yourself out there, 100% energy, time, anything, spend on the product that started. It makes sense.
Yeah. It's like you find your co-founder in life, and then you've got, it's cute.
That's fun. That's fun. I really like it. And yeah, before we wrap up, would love for you to share more about, you know, what our people should be excited about on the Chipped Gossip roadmap this year, right? And then what are things we should stay tuned for?
We've got some super exciting collaborations coming out. We've just, the samples are, like a lot of our collabs are like nearly done, so they should be arriving in LA in the next week or so. So super excited to start showing those to the team, like even though it's super early. Yeah, so excited. I think just some really exciting collabs, and just we have like the thing that I find so fun is like we have our roadmap, we have like where we want to go, but I think our strength really lies in our ability to be incredibly agile, and just like, hey, if something comes up, it's like, oh, that's not on the roadmap. I'm like, okay, now it is. We're gonna add this to the roadmap, and we're gonna make it work, because there's just so many fun opportunities and applications that we have, and yeah, some really really exciting, crazy things coming up. We're raising at the moment, which is such a fun time, as I'm sure a lot of people, if they're watching this, will know if they've gone through that. But yeah, everything. I'm so excited, so optimistic about everything.
If you're an investor out there checking this, right, like send her a DM, right? She's raising. It's the best opportunity of the year. You can't miss it. You just can't. Awesome. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to ask, right? Like, but before we be wrapped up, I'd love to know about like what's your thought about this podcast, like overall the settings, right? And then do you have any suggestions?
I love like just chilled conversational ones, and this is like exactly it. It's super fun. Yeah, you got great questions and just like a really nice atmosphere. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome.